the best advice you give to a kid who, you know, his dream is to be, you know, the next DJ Envy or to be on the Hot 97 or, you know.
Is one is be original and two never stop. Never let nobody say you can't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when I first started out, I came out behind Clue, so it was like at the time Ron G, Craig G, SNS, and Tony Touch were huge. Clue, huge. So when I came out, I was kind of like, oh, that's that new young dude. Nah, we're not messing with him. Nah, we don't want your master. Nah, we don't want this. I mean, if I tell you how many times these bootleggers said no, it was ridiculous. And I just stayed with it every week, coming with something new. Every 2 weeks, coming with something new. Where it got so big, they had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they had to do it, it's like once you got them locked, you just lock and load.
You have any aspirations of producing or?
Well, I produced. I've done production for Foxy Brown, Ja Rule. I done did 3 for DMX, Fabulous, Red Cafe, Loon, Juvenile, Petey Pablo. So
Is that something you want? Do you want to go more in that direction, or what's...
I would love to. It's just the time. I mean, I barely have an hour a day to sleep. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of time.
Did you ever want to rhyme or?
There's a couple verses I actually rhymed on K Slade's last album.
Okay.
I put a verse on K Slade's album, not this, but I put a verse on the next album. Maybe on a remix, you'll hear me on a record. But yeah, I go in every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Nothing you'd ever want to
Nah, I'm like Diddy with it. I'm an entertainer with it. I ain't a lyricist. I'm Diddy. I'm just popping trash. I'm just talking money. I'm having fun. I'm Diddy with it. I'm not Nas. I'm not Jay. I'm Diddy with it.
Who you liking as far as MCs right now?
Red Cafe.
Red Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think's the hottest MC right now that nobody knows?
That nobody knows. We have a group called Section 8.
Okay.
They're from Brooklyn, and those dudes are on fire.
What's the makeup of that like?
It's kind of like, I don't want to say Fugees, but it's 2 guys and a girl, but they all go in, and they all spit, and they all write their own rhymes, and it's
hard? Or?
It's hard, yeah, it's hard. And I mean, I think like now you don't see too many groups in rap. I mean, I remember growing up, you see Mobb Deep, there was EPMD, there was the Fugees, but you don't see that anymore.
How do you feel about the state of hip hop right now?
I'm pretty good with the state of hip hop. I mean, I wish I could stop some of these digital downloads and some of the stuff that the influence the internet is having, but I mean, I'm good with it. I mean, I'm happy with it. A lot of people say, well, what about this type of rapper? What about this? This is all watered down. But I think hip hop needs all that. Jason Fox and the Aunt Jackie and Web Star, the Chicken Noodle Soup. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with that. That reminds me of DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Mm-hmm.
When they did Summertime. When they did I Wish I Could Be Mike Tyson. Those were fun songs.
Yeah.
We didn't take Jazzy Jeff as being Fresh Prince as a killer. We didn't look at him like that. At that same time, EPMD and them came out. You got Mobb Deep. You got those type of artists. And then when it came to lyrics, when you had your Big Daddy Kanes and your Cool G Raps, that's your Jay-Z and your Nas. It's the same thing. But, those easier records are getting on radio now, so a lot of people are upset about it. But I'm not. I don't want the kids listening to Shoot 'em Up, Kill 'em, Bang, Bang, Bang.
Yeah.
I'd rather them listen to Aunt Jack and Chicken Noodle Soup, and if...
Do you think part of that stems from being a father?
Probably. And not even being a father, but just being out there and talking to the kids so much and doing so many of these parties and seeing so many of these fights and these gangs and these people killing each other. I think that's where that comes from.
I mean, is there some music you wouldn't want your kids listening to that maybe you like, or?
No, I don't have my problem with my kids listening to everything. It's a matter of explaining to them what they're listening to.
Yeah.
It's like anything else. I mean, you can't say, well, I don't want my kid to listen to this, but I let him watch wrestling. I mean, I let them watch that movie where they're cutting people's necks off. It's the same thing. You just got to explain to your kids what it is, and that it is a form of entertainment. And half these people, what they talk about shooting, that never happens. It's just a form of entertainment.
Back when all that went down, when Star attacked the kid, how did you take that restraint? Because there had to be part of you that wanted to, take him down, but to have that and kind of do it, like how to not really go at somebody like that, but just to, let him kind of deal with what he did as far as like being ignorant and suffering the consequences. Like, what was your take on that?
How I didn't go at it like that?
He's still alive, isn't he?
I'm just kidding.
I'm
just kidding.
I mean,
it's just more or less is family, and it's when you have strong people around you and real people around you, that's the best thing. I mean, that fake person on your block will go tell you to go knock somebody's head off.
Yeah.
And then what'll wind up happening is if you go do it or go try to do it, you end up in jail.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just got to sit back and plan your attack and wait in the tall grass, and you have to strike when the time is right. and that's the best thing I have around me. You know, everybody around me is my family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't run around with 30, 40 dudes, and everybody, you know, I can trust 100%. And no matter how mad I am or how pissed off I am or how much I'm in quote unquote artist mode, you know, they're able to be like, yo, E, you're bugging. E, we need to do this. E, calm down. And, you know, just having the right people around you, you know, you always plan things, you know?
Uh-huh.
And, you know, just certain things like that.
Okay. I guess, is there a DJ out there that you kind of like to model your career after, that you've seen that kind of came up before you, that you like, whether it's longevity or not necessarily like style, but, you know?
I think the two DJs would be Clue and Flex.
Uh-huh.
And that's because they took what they had and made it a business and took it outside of what they did. Clue took his business outside of mixtapes and outside of DJing and brought it to him owning a record label and him breaking an artist, Fabulous, and him producing for these artists and producing for Mariah Carey and producing for Jay-Z. It took it outside of just DJing. And then you look at Flex, and, you know, he took it outside of DJing and outside of radio. You know, he's into his cars and into endorsements and TV shows, and, you know, that's you know, the goal with me, and take it out of just DJing. I mean, if I break my arms, I want to be able to fall back on something that doesn't have to do with music. You know, if I say something crazy on the radio one day and I get fired, I got to make sure I'm in a position to do something where it's not just radio, where I don't have to rely on radio to get my things done.
Okay. Like I said, being a part of, you know, the morning show Hot 97, always talking a lot of shit about, you know, current events, stuff that's happening in the world. How do you feel it's important to kind of take a middle ground sometimes when you have to work with so many artists as far as expressing your viewpoints, or?
I used to think like that, but now it's more like, fuck it. I mean, one thing that Miss Jones just taught me is these artists are not your friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These artists are business associates. Some of them, you know, they looked at as friends, but there's always two times in this world. One time when they need you, and then when you need them. And, you know, you put yourself in a position where they need you more. I mean, I used to look at artists and be like, oh, nah, don't talk about him, that's my man. Don't do this, that's it. And then, you know, when you go reach out for a favor, you know, they be like, $40,000. I'm like, 40 what? You know what I mean? So, you know, truthfully, I don't even, you know, there's certain artists that are, you know, truthfully my friends and my peoples, but for everybody else, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Any opinions on, you heard about that, the Genesis?
The Genesis, yeah, I mean, the Genesis is crazy. I mean, you look at a bunch of youth who basically had a schoolyard fight. I mean, that's all it was. There's nobody got shot. Nobody got sliced. I mean, I'm sure you've been in a fight in the schoolyard one time. I've been in a fight in the schoolyard. I done got many busted lips, and I done got stitches. You know, you get stitched up, your pops punch you in your chest and say, go back out there and do it again. And that's all it was. But, you know, these dudes facing murder, attempted murder, you know, facing 15 years in prison, and these are juveniles, you know, and for a town to let that slide is crazy. You know, I'm kind of upset that, you know, this been going on for a long time and it's just reaching the light. You know, they'd rather talk about Michael Vick and his dogs. They'll rather talk about O.J. Simpson. They'd rather talk about Paris Hilton going to jail and Nicole Richie doing days in jail. When it's something that really matters and that's really important to not just the black community, but both communities. I mean, it's very saddening, you know, and I appreciate it and I respect all the stuff that Reverend Al is doing for the cause, and, you know, flying down there and being supportive, and it's just crazy, you know what I mean? It's a schoolyard fight, and they try to get these kids damn near life in prison. That just shows you where, you know, where some people's mentalities are about. I'm not going to make it a race thing, just a you know, a level of money thing, you know, just it's first rich, first poor.
Okay. Some kid came up to you and asked you to recommend them a book that could change their life. What would you say?
Recommend them a book. It's funny that you said that, because I don't read books. I only read books that have to deal with financial gain, investments.
There you go. What's
any book with about investment?
Anything that
stands out in my head.
You as like gave you a different point of view.
It's always The Secret. It's always I'm trying to think of it. Any book that has anything with financial gain and investment and how to flip money, stocks, and bonds. That's what I'm into. That's my thing. That's my thing.
Nah, that's good advice.
Fiction
right
books I don't care about. How everybody tells me how.
It could be anything. I didn't say, you know.
Oh no, those are the type of books I'm into. I would direct you to that.
Yeah. All right.